Help Desk. I am Alexandra, again subbing in for Katie. Today we have Angie with us, who is from our web department, and Taylor, who is one of our content editors. So starting off this week, apparently the news feed for Facebook is going to have augmented reality ads. So the example that they gave,
scrolling, they want to include you and make the ads more relatable, but it is a little creepy.
It's a little creepy. It feels like the sci-fi movies.
Yeah, and I think it's just a constant reminder, like, why are these sunglasses still on my face? Or, you know what I mean?
What also reminds you that, like, the camera's always watching you on your phone, just like the cameras on all of your other devices.
Terrifying.
So it is interesting. I mean, I do know that Facebook is getting more creative with their ads. One of my favorite ads that I'm getting retargeted for all the time right now is for Universal Studios. They have an ad and it takes up the whole phone screen, and then it's a T-Rex that comes and it breaks and then it shatters the screen. Then the ad comes through underneath it.
That's pretty good.
And it's pretty cool. Everyone should. If you just go to the Universal Studios website, then they'll start retargeting you with their ads. And it's really cool. It's also, my birthday is this month, and I also noticed that all of the ads I'm getting from Universal Studios that say, come visit us for your birthday if you have a July birthday coming up, because they know that information about me. My birthday is attached to my Facebook page, and they know, oh, her birthday's in July, and then I'm getting these ads that are saying, oh, for your birthday, do this.
Yeah, see, I got married a year ago, and they still think I just really want babies right now. Everything's just like, here's baby stuff. And I was like, I'm okay. We're good.
Especially, well, if you have it on there, your wedding date or the day you got married, as a life event, now they can use that in their ad targeting to you. Especially because it's not just a third party. You know, there is some information they get from third party, like you like this, or like getting retargeted from their Universal Studios. But that's information that you're actually providing Facebook. Like, you're telling them my anniversary is on this day. I'm telling them my birthday is on this day. And so they have complete access to that information. They can send you ads all you want.
Oh yeah, it's my own fault. I know that. The things I share where I'm like, this is out there now. This is what's happening.
Well, most people don't think about that, so it is strange.
Yeah. No, but I don't know. I'm curious to see like who's gonna have the best augmented reality like AR ad.
Yes.
That will be
and it'll probably be a topic of discussion for a little bit, and then we'll see if it continues from there, or
we'll get so used to it we'll just be like, oh yeah, that's just another thing that we see. Because I think that's the problem is we stop seeing ads after a while. Yeah. You're just like, I don't know, it just becomes this like gray area on the side.
Well, they're constantly trying to find a way to make it not be like that. Exactly. And not where you just ignore the ads. So that's probably where this entire conversation comes up. Why they're trying to
be like more in your face.
Yep. Yeah. So that you don't just scroll past it.
Yeah. All right, well, let's see how it goes. Sounds interesting. All right, so we have a couple topics for you today. We're going to start off with how we put together a successful newsletter. Okay. Which one of us is doing that one?
Angie got that.
Angie's got that? All right, makes sense. We got the web designer who knows how to design newsletters. We've done it a lot. Go ahead and let us know.
So newsletters are, extremely valuable marketing tool, and not only do we use newsletters to attract new people, but it's to like keep all of our current clients up to date. Just let them know what's going on with our company. You can promote sales. There's a lot of different ways that you can create a newsletter for your company. So here we like to use MailChimp or Constant Contact, mainly because it's very easy to use. It's drag and drop, and a lot of our clients like it because they can edit it themselves, and then we can help them out with it. So first off, you're going to want to create a template. So you're going to want to do you're going to want to change out the colors to match your brand, along with adding your logo and any other branding materials that you have that follow in line with your brand. So then you're going to think about different sections that you want to include in your template. So things like news, events, promotions, things like that. And then from there, you're going to want to think about what content is going to go in those sections. So you can do things like announcements, special deals and promotions, events, and even a look inside your company. I know for the Katie Wagner social media newsletter that we do every month, we feature our 3 blogs. And then we also feature something that's going, a couple news events that are happening inside of the agency, as well as a case study and a tip of the day. So we kind of have a template that we stick with every month that seems to be working. And so, yeah.
And what you can also do from there is kind of track what of those things are being engaged with. So like through the MailChimp analytics, you can see, well, everyone's clicking on the blog post, but we're not getting a lot of interaction on, say, like hypothetically on this event that we're talking about. So then maybe the next month you say, okay, well, this doesn't seem to be working very well. We've noticed through the analytics from our last few months. Let's change this out. Let's add in, the video from the help desk or something different, and you can get a lot of insight and a lot of information about your business that way. Or if you're linking different products and no one's clicking on them, then maybe they're not interested in that product. So there is a lot of like detail and information that you can get from those newsletters.
Yeah, and we use these a lot, and it depends on the client too.
Right.
You know, if you're someone who is going to be having, you know, a sale coming up during a certain time frame, you know, this is a great way to get it out to people. But then there's also clients where it's just like, no, you just need to be updated about what's going on. Or if you're a law firm, for example, and some new precedent has been set, and then you know that you write a blog about this, and it's like a newsletter is a good way to get in front of your clients, and then say, also, link back to the site, and it gets them back where you want them to be, which is on your site.
Right.
Well, a lot of times for us, when there are major changes in the social media industry, we'll send out e-blasts, maybe separate from our normal or typical newsletter, that says, like, attention, this is something you really need to know about, this is changing, or this is happening, just to let everybody know. And then from there, you know, a lot of people will then get in contact with us or want to know more information about it, and that's I can see that working well for other companies as well, too. Like, this is happening for your business. Like, you need to know about this. If you're not prepared, like, email us, contact us, and we'll help you with that. And that could be very beneficial to a lot of different industries.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that with the GDPR when that came out. It was a huge thing, and it was like, people need to know. They need to know that, like, we're paying attention to it, and this is how you should be paying attention to it. So, yeah, I mean, we're constantly setting up newsletters. We're doing more of them every day, and it's not something that's old, and one of the things is, like, statistics are that some people check their email more often. There's certain demographics that are interested in that and want to read articles on it, and I know I do it.
It's just another way of reaching people, because I personally am more susceptible, I think, to being sold through newsletters and through email blasts, because I'm looking for that kind of stuff. Like, I'm looking for a sale, or I'm looking for a coupon, and maybe online I'm more someone who scrolls past ads. But there's also the inverse, like people who just delete every single email that comes through, but then when they're on their social media feed, they'll stop and they'll look at it because they have their attention. So it's another way to reach a different version of your audience. And I think that's why you'll find that a lot of companies do both. Because you can, get different types of people.
Yeah, I'm more like you. I feel like newsletters always feel like very thoughtful to me. Like, we're like really thinking about, like, if you subscribe to this newsletter, these are the things we know you're going to care about. And so it feels like, okay, they're really targeting towards me instead of the general audience. But again,
I mean, from that you also have to be careful, because I'll have companies that will send me newsletters nonstop. I'm getting 6 e-blasts a week, and then at that point, if I wasn't interested in the first 5, I'm not going to be interested now, and that's when I start deleting or not even opening them. So it is about finding a balance that works for you and your customers, and knowing, okay, I can only send this many in the month. That's optimum for me, because otherwise I'm going to be overselling. So finding that balance and taking care of the people that you're sending your emails out to, otherwise you'll lose them.
And so for us, we do it once a month, but then if you're a company who is selling a product, maybe once a week works for you. That would be an acceptable
depending
amount.
on sales or promotions.
And testing and finding out what works for you.
That's going to be important. So we're very much about all of the data and liking to know exactly. That's what we're always looking for. So moving on to our next thing, something maybe a little bit more fun than just newsletters. Taylor's going to tell us how to make our Instagram photos really pop on the feed.
So we were kind of just talking about that, like when, whether it's ads or whether it's organic posts, it's really about grabbing the attention of the user so that they just don't scroll past you. There's a reason that Instagram was, one, built for a mobile phone, and also built the way it is, where you're just scrolling and receiving information, is because that they want it to be that way. They want it to be really quick and easy, and so you have seconds at the most to grab someone's attention before they scroll right past your content. So when picking the photos you want to upload, or when you're taking the pictures that are meant for your Instagram, you really have to be thoughtful of that, because that's going to play a big role in your Instagram strategy. So my first tip would be to pay attention to the lighting in the situation, especially if you're taking pictures that are going to be specifically for Instagram. You're going to want to make sure that the pictures aren't too dark or aren't too muddy. And that also on the opposite end of that there's not too much light, and that everything's not being washed out, because those two they won't be very appealing to the eyes. They won't give you a very good aesthetic, and people will just scroll past them. So you really want bright colors. You want things to pop. You want your images to really stand out. So then they'll stop and then read the caption and see what you're all about. And then now you can provide them the information. But first you got to get them to stop first. The second would be to make sure picture a composition. So even though you might be taking a picture of a watch, you're not just taking a picture of a watch. You're taking a picture of everything that's in the composition of the picture. So being very aware of that, you know, if you're taking a picture of a person, what's happening behind them? What's happening in front of them? What's in the image? If you're taking a picture outside, is there a light pole that's going to be in the middle of your picture that now threw off the entire composition? So it's really important to be aware of that when you're taking the pictures so that it doesn't throw off your entire, you know, photo shoot, and then you get home and you want to upload the picture and you're like, dang, I only had a couple minutes to get this picture of this beautiful sunset, and now there's, you know, a trash can.
Yeah.
And
But
now it's not going to look good.
It totally changes the vibe when you've got something that you're like, oh, that wasn't what I thought was. Okay. And then you can't crop it out because you've only got so much room anyway.
And when it comes to events or things that are happening that are special, like you can't get those moments back. Like if you're at an event for your company and you're just mindlessly taking pictures, you're not thinking about the strategy behind the pictures you're taking, you're going to get home and you're going to see that none of these pictures are really going to work out for me. And now you don't have that opportunity back. So paying attention to those two things, like the composition of your picture and the lighting, those are two really important things.
Yeah.
Also, that tool on your phone, which a lot of people probably don't use or pay attention to, where they put the grid on your on
I
the
use
picture
this all the time.
so that you can it kind of puts you in that mindset of thinking about the composition, and it gives you the rule of thirds so that it has 9 squares and you can see how everything's going to fit in the image, how things are spaced out, and especially if maybe you're more of a beginner, you're not as skilled in photography, that tool will really help you out to make your pictures look a little more professional.
Yeah, it's a really good guideline. I use it all the time because I'm just like, I don't know. I know, and I think for me, like with the grid being there, it's like, okay, now I'm looking at each square to see what's in each square.
Exactly, and then you're thinking about all those things.
Exactly, so it allows me to actually do that, whereas otherwise I just snap terrible pictures and I'm like, oh, I'm going to post to Instagram, but I have bad photos. I'm not doing that anymore. I mean, it's my personal stuff, so it's less important, but you know.
But still, even for your own personal sake, like it's good to like keep in mind those things, and it's really going to amp up the quality of your photos. Yeah. And the last thing is to think about the post-production of your photos. And I know some people might be a little bit scared to really dive into the photo editing, but you don't have to have fancy, you know, Lightroom or Photoshop to be able to take good quality pictures and then fix them in post. There are a ton of free apps you can use on your phone. You can even use Instagram's tools. Those are really, really helpful. And they can really change the quality of your pictures and help all of your pictures look cohesive and like they're taken by the same person or the same brand. A couple things with the photo editing tools. If your picture is dark, you can raise some of the brightness to kind of lighten the picture a little bit. Or if there's not too much color going on, like bringing out the saturation to bring out some of the more colors. It's not always going to be able to fix maybe a bad picture, but you can. If maybe at the time you weren't thinking about it, or you want to kind of amp up some of the better qualities of the photos, the tools can really help. And so I think just exploring in there, taking the time to see like what works for you, what's going to match your brand, that will really take your Instagram game up and will help people pay more attention to your photos in the feed.
For sure. I always notice when I scroll through an Instagram, when you're like scrolling, when you like look at somebody's got a good photo, so you actually go to their page and then you're like, all of these are consistent and this makes me feel good.
And now it says pretty and nice and now I want to follow them.
And you feel really good about it. You're like, oh, I know what I was
They're
looking
like
at.
mindful of how all of their photos look and how they all fit together.
And they're doing that by thinking about each picture so that you're not having every picture next to each other be exactly the same. Thinking about the picture as a whole and the strategy as a whole, and then also the post-production, the lighting, they're thinking of everything as a whole and not just each individual picture. And that can really elevate your brand.
That's super key, and something that, I mean, of any of the companies that I follow, they all are really good at it, and I'm always like, man, it just makes me feel good looking at your stuff.
And it's not as hard as it looks.
It really isn't.
It's as simple as using the free Instagram filters and just being mindful.
Are filters, that's actually a question, are filters in anymore? Does anybody use them?
Yes and no.
Yes and no? Okay.
I use the black and white filter when I don't love the color of my photo, but I want to still use it. But I don't love the super bright, like washed out, and I don't love the faded, like.
I think what's in
there was
is
a time when
that was really popular, like making all of yours a little more gray and taking out all the color. Now I think it's popular to use the filters to make it look like you don't have a filter. So you're just trying to make your pictures look as good as possible and as professional as possible, but not look like you have a filter on it, which can take some time and some practice, but that's really what I think a lot of brands are going for. I know personally what I'm going for when I'm editing pictures is to make it look as great as possible, but not fake.
Yeah, exactly. I know for me when I'm using them, it's like, okay, I like this filter, I like what it does, but you can click on it again and adjust how much that filter comes
turn
through.
it all the way up.
So you turn it up, turn it down, figure out what feels good,
Right.
and then you're like, okay, this like gives me a little better definition and removes the bags under my eyes or something,
Yeah,
you know,
it's
whatever that
accentuating
is.
the good quality.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
Not going too overboard.
Yeah, yeah. Because you can always tell when it's like super saturated.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
like, whew, that takes me back to when it first opened.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're going to move into a section called In the News. This is a blog we put up once a week. This is going to have stuff that's just going on in social media, so we like to talk about it as usual. So first we're going to talk about, and I know a lot of friends of mine who are going to be excited about this, is Facebook is allowing keyword snooze.
This is my favorite.
It's a good one. It's a really, really good one. So, well, if it's your favorite, why don't you tell me about it?
So this has been popular on Twitter for a little bit, and I'm happy that Facebook is also going to be taking this into consideration because I participate in a lot of online conversation about TV shows, sports games, season premieres, season finales, and it's the worst feeling in the world when you're going through, and even sometimes the brand does it. Like it will be the finale for the TV show, and they'll put up a post about what happened at the end of their own TV show, and I follow them because I'm interested in this TV show, I'm interested in this brand, and then it spoils the ending of it. And I'm like, no.
It's the worst.
So the new Facebook tool essentially allows you to put in key terms that you don't want to see for a certain amount of time so that you don't get spoiled by those things, or vice versa if there's something that you don't want to see on your feed. Like there's a lot of things I'm sure people don't want to see on their feeds, but they don't want to unfollow those people or those brands, putting in those key terms so that you don't see some of that content.
Yeah, agreed.
It helps you customize it a little more for you.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be awesome, especially because it hides by keyword, not hashtag.
Yes.
Nobody has to hashtag anything. It's just if you finds that word in someone's text, it'll get rid of it, which I think is really good. I have a lot of friends who have the same kind of thing where it's like, everybody I know is always going and seeing the movie like at a premiere or the night it came out or whatever, and then you've got those people who are like, I have to work all weekend and now I can't be on the internet.
Everyone's like, oh, I hated it, I loved it, and you're like, oh, great, now I
Yeah,
hate it.
now I've already got
Like even if that's not a spoiler, you're still talking about it, and I don't want to talk about it. But what Facebook does really well, and they've always done this really well, is blurring the lines between hashtags and just searchable words, which I like because I'm not always searching for hashtags.
No.
Right.
And Instagram, not as great about this. You can only search via hashtag on Instagram, which can be really frustrating.
Yep.
On Facebook, they're kind of one and the same. And so I like that they're taking that approach to it because, like you said, when you're just normally looking through content or when you're searching for things, you're not always using a hashtag.
Yeah,
you're just
right.
searching the terms or you're just using the term. You're not
Exactly.
hashtagging the name of the movie when you're talking about it in your Facebook comment.
Yeah.
And so I like that they're taking that into consideration because it's a lot more in favor of the way that users use the platform.
Yeah,
Right.
I think because they want to go towards like more conversational, and so I don't put a hashtag in anything in Facebook if I'm doing it unless I'm being like funny or ironic. Like I don't do it because I'm like, the only people who are seeing this are the people who are friends with me, and probably only the people who don't have me like muted or hidden or whatever. So it's like, yeah, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a really good one. I know a lot of people who I will be telling them the next time they yell about a spoiler, I'm gonna be like, here's this tool you need to do so I get to stop seeing you being mad about spoilers.
So now
just block spoiler.
You can set the time for how long you want to snooze it for, right?
I think it says 30 days.
Yeah, or you can then go
But I
in
think
and
you
adjust.
can take it off and then add to it. So I'm sure that'll evolve as we go.
Yes,
where it's
yeah,
just
sure
like
it will.
I never want to see any of this ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Twitter. Moving on to Twitter. Speaking of hashtags and where that all originated, they're still working on their spam removal process. They have. Let's see, they've acquired Smite, which is a San Francisco-based technology company that specializes in safety, spam, and security issues. So they're really trying to go after it actively as opposed to waiting for people to report things. They're trying to look for behaviors in Twitter accounts where it's like, yep, that looks like that sign up was fake. That looks like it's just automatically generating, tweets and retweets and whatnot. And so it's kind of neat that I think that they're letting everybody know, like, these are the steps that we're taking, since people are like, what are you going to do about it? So they're being very open about it, and hopefully it pays off.
I say, like, it's about time. For
Yeah!
Because Twitter, compared to some of the other social media networks, they do have an issue with spam.
Yes.
So it does make sense that they're trying to address this now because people have been taking advantage of the fact that you can just, because Twitter's all about tweeting in the moment and tweeting a lot of content very often. People take advantage of that and they're, spamming your feeds. whether you want to receive that information or not. So I think I'm glad that they're taking these actions, and it's about time because they really need to keep up with the other social media channels in that. So I'm happy to see this,
Definitely.
and I know it'll take some time to perfect that system, but it's good to hear that they're working towards
Well,
it.
it's like you said, it's such a fast-moving platform. People are figuring out how to get around it faster than they can catch it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of always going to be the case,
Yeah.
but at least they can, they're doing things like where it's like, okay, now we're going to have to text you in order when you're signing up an account or an email or whatnot so that people can't get around that part of it. And sure, somebody's going to figure out how to like automate that eventually, but for now, that'll help a little bit. So it'll be good. It's nice to see that we're doing it. And then next up is Facebook is now adding the reactions that we're used to seeing on all of our posts. So you went from being able just to like something to smile at it and cry at it and whatever else you do at these things. And they're adding it to their Facebook stories. Do we think that that's going to be? I mean, it hasn't really caught on quite yet.
It's interesting because this kind of has to do with why we as an agency don't bring on certain platforms until usually about a year until we know if they're going to stick around for a while, kind of for this reason, because Facebook Stories has come out, it's been around for a while, but like you said, it's not necessarily catching on, and it's not just this, there's a lot of different social media platforms that come and go, and you'll hear about them, they'll be popular for a minute, and then they'll kind of go away. So that's why we do wait it out and decide, is this something we want to suggest to our clients, invest in, let them know it's going to work. We need to see if it's going to work first. So I think Facebook Stories is one of those things where we still haven't decided if this is going to be something that people move forward with. I don't think the users have decided if this is something that they're going to use yet. Especially when they're competing with Instagram Stories, which has kind of had the opposite effect, where no one was really sure where it was going to go. Can it compete with Snapchat? And then it's just taken off and been a really great tool for everyone to use. And so I understand why they are trying to do things like add reactions and try to improve it a little bit better to try to get people to use it more often, but the jury's still kind of out on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's something like, I'm thinking in terms of like if a company was doing stories, would I be watching them? Because I don't even watch the ones my friends are doing.
Right.
So I'm not sure if I'm going to be looking for that or not. But I'm also older than I think the target audience.
I think it's more of just an afterthought. Like when you're posting, it's like, do you also want to post this to your stories? And you're like, yeah, sure, why not? Like I don't know if people are
I've done
actively
that
going out
times.
and posting stories on their own that aren't already posts.
And that's kind of one of those, another new tool that Facebook added where you can add, not only put it on your company page, but then also add it, because they're trying to get more people to use it. So we'll see if that has an effect.
Like Facebook's trying really hard to get you to use stories.
Yeah, they are really working for it, which is just so funny to me that I think it's just another thing about the platform is Facebook and Instagram are the same company, but Instagram is clearly a different kind of social media platform. The
And
way that
people
you
love
communicate.
Instagram Stories. I love Instagram Stories.
I do just
I don't really watch those very often either. Every once in a while.
I'm very active on the Instagram Stories.
I think I'm just like behind on that. I don't know what's wrong with me, probably. I don't know.
I love watching them.
Yeah,
Sometimes maybe it's just you guys have better friends than I do, or better stories to
Not
watch
even
than I do.
friends, they're just influencers.
Influencers and stuff. Maybe people have good stuff. That's what it is. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna go stalk all of who you're following, and maybe they'll be better than mine. Either way, so that is Social Media Help Desk. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, if you have any questions, you can feel free to email us, or even better is you can leave comments in this Facebook Live. We love to hear from people, and we'll be happy to answer more questions. So again, we had Angie with us and Taylor, and we will see you next week.